I have a question.
Sure.
Have you ever played Catalan with white?
With white, that's not ever been one of my main openings.
Mm-hmm.
I played against it. For
I
many years,
guess.
I've hated playing against it because I didn't know what to do against it.
Oh, yes, like I play Catalan, and if you play
Oh.
really well, yes,
So
it's
you
quite.
played Catalan as white.
Yes.
Oh. So I have a line I like to play against it.
Which line?
So you play c4, right?
Yes.
I'll play e6. You play g3?
Oh, you mean C5 here?
I don't play c. No, I
No,
play
no.
d5.
D5. Okay, so
I take. This is going
okay.
into a bit more specific theory. I play c5 here.
Well, yes, like this is variation which I don't like with when I play with white. Probably like then bishop before and then a3. Like, I mean, when I try these bishops, like I literally.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension between the
Yes.
bishops, between the pawns. I usually castle here.
And yes, so remember, I'm just going to take it and then play for. Yes, I mean this is variation which my opponents are playing really rare. Like
I
I
could show
almost
you
never
one
played
trap
it.
here,
That.
actually,
Okay.
for
Yes.
white. I
Yes.
remember I played some World Youth Championship, and I got this position. My opponent played Queen C2, and I reached out my hand, about to play a losing move. And then I stopped myself. Like I realized right before touching the pawn that I wanted to move, it was losing. I wanted to play b5 here. As a Catalan player, it's actually kind of a thematic idea when black plays b5 to defend the pawn.
Yes.
White to move and punish black.
Well, well, this is. I see already. Yes.
Yeah, some people in chat,
Yes. Yes.
I know
Like.
see it too.
Yes. Yes. Knight g5.
So the thing to address, knight e5 is a typical move to try and win the rook, but then knight d5 and
Knight d5. Yes.
e4 would then block the bishop. But knight g5, unleashing the bishop and preventing knight d5 because mating. So that's why
Which
queen
side?
c2 is a bit tricky.
Like,
Yeah.
I think here are similar ideas after b5, like knight g5, because it's the most common to protect this pawn on c4.
Right. Yeah. And usually what black has to do here is just give away the pawn. And what I end up playing in the game would be recommended is to play a5, just support b4 and then b6. And black will complete development and the game continues. So I could share one trap, like one of the main traps in this line. Maybe it would be useful for some players who maybe want a weapon against a Catalan. If we think about after bishop d2, c5, what white's options are, one of the most natural continuations is just to take the bishop and queen a4
Yes.
and just try and win back the pawns. The line I'll show is probably one of the most natural looking continuations for a Catalan player. Let's imagine knight c6. What's the first move that comes to mind for white if you want to win back material?
95.
95, yeah, so typical. It looks like everything's kind of crumbling now for black. We calmly play bishop d7. Now, of course, white has maybe some choice, but we are threatening knight takes d4. So many times white will take on c6. Let's imagine white takes everything on c6. So winning back a pawn. Let me ask you, what pawn would you take here? Just first instinct. And chat can participate.
Well, I would take on. Yes, I'm allowed to take on c6, but I mean, I'm afraid of some traps like queen c6, knight d7, queen c4. Here's rook c8.
Ah, okay. So you
Yeah, so
spotted
that's
it.
why I would take queen b4.
Okay, very very nice. Yeah, there were a couple people in my chat saying, "Oh, just win both
No,
pawns."
here's rook. Yes.
But this is the whole point of the line.
Yes.
White does win back. White's up a pawn here, but is losing
Mhm.
either the queen or the rook. It's nice. It's a nice line. Like it flows very nicely. Where White kind of just played the most natural looking moves and then ends up losing. So like all of the traps we're addressing, I've had like in online games. It's so much fun where you just play what you've studied in the past. You don't have to think in the opening, and people stumble into your danger zone. So I should note this. I think this is unofficially referred to as a Ray Robson variation. It's, Grandmaster. He streams from time to time. A good friend of mine, but he played this back when he was maybe 14 or 15. It was really uncommon, like almost a novelty type variation, and he had some really incredible wins in this line. So it's nice when you can kind of play an offbeat opening and then keep the game in your comfort zone, especially against like these mainstream openings that you might encounter quite often. Again, hopefully this is of some value to people. It's always nice to like acknowledge these traps, so you like maybe you could use them, but also you won't fall into them. Um, just good to be aware of the tricky ideas. Well, I still have to play Budapest.
Why do skiers like linear equations?
Why?
Because it's easy to find the slope.
Oh, I understand that one. Yeah. What's the equation for slope? Mx plus b? Or no? Oh, m is the slope, though. I think. It's been so long. It's been so long since I've been in school. Okay, I'm playing a Ray Robson variation of the Catalan. Yeah. C5 is like the start of the variation. This used to be super rare. It's been a bit more common recently. Yeah, Queen A4 is a move. And then Knight E5 is kind of expected. And White's going to win a pawn probably. Or multiple pawns. There goes all my pawns. There goes this pawn. There's a funny trap though. Yeah, this is a funny trap. Lack is winning now. This is all opening preparation. I discovered this line close to 10 years ago, inspired by Ray Robson. I think I discovered this with the engine actually, years ago. Okay, how to exploit the king. If I play queen g5, there's f4. Just play queen e7.
Rise over run.
Yeah. I have to calculate the slope of this diagonal. Oh, rise over run. Oh, so the slope of this is just 1, right? I think. What's hanging? Oh, I have a tricky move. Look at this tricky move. If takes, I pin. And then probably win. Meanwhile, the queen's tied down to the knight, which is now undefended. I have knight b3. I'll play knight b3 first. White's pieces are just sidelined. The king is a little bit stranded. I have queen c7 here. Oh, I forgot about that move. But I have this move. These pieces are stuck. I'm threatening mate in 1. Also, probably the pawn is, yeah, the d4 pawn is hanging. That was a nice opening. It's a fun opening against the Catalan. You need some preparation, but there's a lot of lines where white can fall victim.
just like this. This is probably one of the the most natural approaches for white, is to like try and win back the pawn. Like this is very typical Catalan play, and then that's unfortunate for white that this just wins on the spot for black.